File item 90, passed and retained. File item 91 is AB 2890. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2890 by the Committee on Environmental Safety and Toxic Materials, an act relating to water.
Mr. Alejo, you may open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2890 makes several changes to better align the State Water Resources Control Board's program for certifying operators of wastewater treatment plants, for certifying operators of drinking water treatment plants, and to improve efficiency and effectiveness of these programs. Specifically, this bill revises the fee structure to allow the Water Board to reduce fees for individuals that hold multiple certificates. It also makes multiple changes to achieve consistency between the drinking water and wastewater treatment operator programs and deletes outdated provisions in both programs. Lastly, it clarifies the Water Board's enforcement authority by making minor amendments to existing enforcement provisions for both operator certification programs in order to make them similar. This bill is sponsored by the State Water Board. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Alejo. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 48, noes 23. Measure passes. File item 92, passed and retained. File item 93. AB 2176 by Ms. Campos. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2176 by Assemblymember Campos, an act relating to housing.
Ms. Campos, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2176 is a district bill that would authorize the City of San Jose to develop an emergency bridge housing community if it declares a shelter crisis. San Jose is battling some of the highest homeless concentration rates in the state, with over 4,000 homeless people living there. My city has been working to address this crisis by opening up public buildings and allowing churches to house the homeless at night. But with the cost of housing continuing to increase and vacancy rates remaining low, the city is in dire need of more options to be available to help the thousands of people living in the streets. We have made regional plans to develop affordable housing, high-density housing, but we are still years away from seeing this finished. The crisis can't wait. That is why we are going to establish an emergency bridge housing community where the homeless can be safe and live there as they transition out to permanent housing. AB 2176 will allow us to do this. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. Mr. Lowe, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. I want to thank my fellow colleague from San Jose for this important measure. We have a crisis at hand, and this bill will certainly help to address this issue at hand. It's a small way to get to this issue, but it's certainly headed in the right direction. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Mr. Kansen Chu, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speakers and members. I rise to support my colleague from San Jose on AB 2176, and this bill will not fix all the 6,000 homeless people in the city of San Jose, but it does provide a very quick and sustainable solution to many of the working poor that don't have a house roof over their head and on some victims of domestic violences. So I urge for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. Mr. Thurman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise in support of AB 2176. I want to thank the author from San Jose for bringing it forward. We've made the conversation about addressing homelessness one of our top priorities for discussion in this House and throughout the state. This simply would give cities a mechanism to be able to locally lead in addressing the needs of the some 4,000, maybe 6,000 homeless individuals in the city of San Jose. I urge all of our support on AB 2176.
Thank you, Mr. Thurman. Mr. Ridley Thomas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Not to be too redundant, but even for someone in Los Angeles, it's important that the issues of the Silicon Valley with respect to homelessness begin to be addressed. We salute local governments that have taken initiative to declare homeless emergencies, to begin to act locally with public and private resources to address the homeless crisis, and hope that bills such as AB 2176 raise the consciousness of what the state can do to help address this crisis. It is exacerbated across the state. It is rising at an alarming rate, and it's possible, I think, that with the author's leadership, the gentlewoman from San Jose, and this bill, AB 2176, that the state can be a much more responsive and responsible actor in addressing the homeless crisis in Silicon Valley and elsewhere. With that, I would respectfully request an aye vote, Mr. Speaker, and again salute the gentlelady for her advocacy and strong leadership.
Thank you, Ms. Ridley-Thomas. Seeing no additional discussion or debate on the item, Ms. Campos, you may close if you wish.
Thank you. AB 2176 will be used as a vehicle to make sure that we address the homeless issue, not only in my city, but hopefully this vehicle will be used across the state of California as we show that this mechanism can be helpful to helping not only the city of San Jose, but eventually helping the state of California be able to eliminate the homeless population that we continue to have in our great state. In the spirit of California, our goal is to hopefully make sure everyone has a permanent house to live and thrive in. With that, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 73, no 0. Measure passes. File item 94, AB 2621 for the purpose of amendments. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 2621 with amendments by Assemblymember Gomez.
Mr. Gomez on the amendments.
Mr. Speaker and members, today I'm presenting technical amendments for AB 2621 to clarify that this bill is not intended to require a private or public school to create a website if a school does not already have one. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item and without objection, we may take a voice vote on the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The bill is out to print and back on file. File item 95, pass and retain. File item 96, AB 1848. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1848 by Assemblymember David Chu and others, enact relating to DNA evidence.
Mr. Chu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, AB 1848 will address the long backlog of sexual assault evidence kits in California. In recent years, the federal government has estimated hundreds of thousands of rape kits that have not been analyzed. In our state, we know there's a significant backlog, but we don't know how many rape kits have been collected, nor do we know how many have been tested or why kits have not been tested. As a former criminal prosecutor, I hope the injustice of the situation is obvious, but does bear repeating. When a rape kit is untested, it re-traumatizes survivors and allows criminals to roam free. DNA evidence can identify unknown assailants and confirm known suspects, affirm a survivor's account, and discredit a suspect, connect a rapist to other crimes, and exonerate the innocent. As our state auditor suggested, our bill creates transparency by requiring law enforcement agencies to track through a DOJ database how many sexual assault evidence kits they collect and the number of kits that have been analyzed or not analyzed, as well as directing agencies to report annually their reasons for not testing a kit, as well as requiring a report to our legislature on this information. This bill has passed out of all committees with unanimous bipartisan consent. I want to thank our Attorney General Kamala Harris for being the sponsor of this bill, as well as our co-authors. And with that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Chu. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. We are passing temporarily on file item 97. File item 98, AB 2618 by Mr. Nazarian. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2618 by Assemblymember Nazarian, enact relating to local government.
Mr. Nazarian, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. According to multiple reputable sources, including the United States Geological Survey, there is an upwards of an 85% chance that a major earthquake of 6.7 in scale will strike California in the next 30 years. And it's a matter of when, not if. As local jurisdictions begin to consider requiring vulnerable buildings to be retrofitted, the number of options for individuals to finance these improvements is limited. 2 PACE programs have been authorized under state law to finance specified improvements through contractual assessments and through community facilities districts. This bill expands the types of projects property owners of residential and commercial buildings can finance through a voluntary special tax levy on the property to include seismic safety improvements under the community facilities district model. This bill brings parity to both PACE program models by expanding the list of eligible projects to make both models uniform. And with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Nazarian. Mr. Ridley Thomas, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of AB 2618. The gentleman from the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles has been a champion for seismic safety retrofit, and there's a significant safety benefit to bills like this, increasing seismic retrofit activity as well as an economic benefit. So this is a jobs bill, it's a jobs creator, and it's a protector of our constituents' safety. With that, I would respectfully request an aye vote and salute the gentleman for his rather strategic advocacy and important advocacy on this important topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Seeing no additional discussion or debate, Mr. Nazarian, you may close if you wish.
As for an aye vote. Thank you.
Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 72, no 0. Measure passes. File item 99, AB 2819, for the purpose of amendments. Clerk will read with amendments.
Assembly Bill 2819 with amendments by Assemblymember David Chu.
Mr. Chu on the amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm offering clarifying technical amendments to address a drafting issue raised by the Department Associations, and I respectfully ask for your support and aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chu. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item and without objection, we may take a voice vote on the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. Bill is out to print and back on file. Moving to file item 100. That's AB 2380. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2380 by Assemblymember Alejo, an act relating to defendants.
Mr. Alejo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Members, today I rise to present AB 2380, which would provide parents who are incarcerated for lengthy terms with information and options about how to formalize the relationship between their children and a temporary custodian. This bill is about protecting children. I was moved to author this bill after recent tragic deaths of 3-year-old Delilah Terra, her 6-year-old brother Sean Terra, and the torture of their 9-year-old sister, all whom were from my district in East Salinas. In December of 2015, authorities found the bodies of 3-year-old Delilah, 6-year-old Sean in a storage container in Northern California. The children had been in the custody of Tammy Huntsman, an informal caregiver that was designated by their father. Their father had been sentenced to a long prison term, and the children's mother had been deceased. Huntsman has since been charged with the children's murder, and the case is being currently prosecuted by the Monterey County District Attorney's Office. After researching the law regarding the custody of children of incarcerated parents, we discovered the current law fails to provide some basic protections and oversight for our vulnerable children in situations such as this, where there is only one parent in the home and that parent has later been incarcerated for a long period of time. Ensuring the health and safety of our children is one of the most essential roles of our government, and our system failed 3-year-old Delilah and 6-year-old Sean. The amended bill requires the court, at the arraignment of the parent who is charged with the felony and who is the sole guardian of his or her child, to provide the parent with information on options regarding the provision of care for his or her child in the parent's absence, including ways in which to formalize the relationship with the person with whom they are entrusting the care of his or her child, such as appointing the power of attorney and the availability of services such as researching the potential caregiver's background through a background check. This will allow the parents to have the best information they need to determine if the chosen informal caregiver is an appropriate person to care for their children. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Alejo. Seeing no discussion or debate on this item, clerk will open the roll. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 76, no, 0. Measure passes. Members, we are going to move back in the file to file item 87. File item 87, AB 1964. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1964 by Assemblymember Bloom and others, enact relating to vehicles.
Mr. Bloom, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. California's green sticker program for plug-in hybrid vehicles is an invaluable incentive program that has helped spur the purchase of zero-emission vehicles. The future of the program, however, is in jeopardy. Last year, the decal limit of 85,000 decals was reached, and the program is set to expire at the end of 2018. As the end of the program approaches, the value of the decals and the incentive for purchasing a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle will diminish. AB 1964 will solve this problem by creating a renewed sticker program for plug-in hybrid electric vehicles after the current program expires. The new program will have neither a limit on the number of decals nor a traditional sunset date. However, the program will only permit decals to be used for 3 years after they are issued. This will increase the accessibility of the stickers while reining in the length of time that the stickers can be used. This bill also sets a performance metric to conclude the program. When the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle market share reaches 8.6%, a metric based on CARB's zero-emission vehicle mandate, that 8.6% is the metric that's based on CARB's zero-emission vehicle mandate, the decals will stop being issued. These stickers have been shown to incentivize the purchase of zero-emission vehicles, and in fact, a recent study by the Center for Sustainable Energy showed that the HOV lane access was an important purchase motivation for nearly 60% of the survey respondents. By 2025, at least 15% of new cars sold by major vehicle manufacturers will have to be zero-emission vehicles. And I'd like to point out that that industry is a California-bred industry. Those jobs are right here in our state. So it's well worth it for us to be incentivizing this industry. These are very ambitious goals, and we should empower and equip vehicle manufacturers to reach the goals. AB 1964 does exactly that while creating a more sustainable long-term program. This bill has had bipartisan support, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Ms. Brown, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I must rise in opposition to AB 1964. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, San Bernardino County is one of the most heavily commuted counties in the continental United States. In the 47th Assembly Districts, many of my constituents commute to Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside County for work. As a result, carpooling is very common and necessary so that they get to work on time and get home at a decent hour. The carpool lane is a traffic management tool. It is intended to take cars off the road and reduce congestion. This bill undermines the purpose by adding single occupancy vehicles to the carpool lane. Just because you can afford to buy a zero-emission vehicle does not mean that the folks who carpool can't afford, they have to have a longer commute. I respectfully ask for a no vote.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. See no additional discussion or debate. I'm sorry. Thank you, members. Mr. Cooper, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the author from Santa Monica for bringing this forward. I do have some concerns. For us in the Central Valley, it's a definite disparate difference. For instance, out of the 80 Assembly Districts, $300 million, $311 million has been available in rebates. In the author's district, they've gotten rebates for 5,777 vehicles for about $12 million. In my district, we've gotten rebates for 724 vehicles for $1.5 million. So most of the Central Valley District and members, you've gotten about 1% of the rebates for this. We're not seeing this in my areas. It is impacted. as far as non-attainable. So once again, these rebates are going to folks that can afford it the most, the affluent folks. But in the poor communities in the Central Valley, our residents can't afford it and don't have it. So it's got to be fair somehow, because the pollution up here is just as bad, and yet we don't have these vehicles. Our residents can't afford it. So a lot of money is being given out in rebates, but it's not reaching the folks that truly need it, that are driving the high-polluting vehicles. So I do have some concerns with the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Seeing no additional discussion or debate or members seeking recognition, Mr. Bloom, you may close.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker and members. And I'd like to thank the members from San Bernardino and Elk Grove for their comments. I have two responses. One is, this is not a new program. This is a program that has existed for many years now, and it's a very, very successful program. It's completely appropriate that we use the additional capacity in our HOV lanes to incentivize this very important industry and the very important climate change goals and reduction of pollution goals that we have. For the member from Elk Grove, I'd like to point out that we are currently considering in this budget year, in these this year's budget discussions, the creation of programs that will help provide cap and trade or perhaps other dollars to help low-income individuals invest in these vehicles. I also want to point out that pollution, air pollution and climate change affects all of us, but it affects the disadvantaged communities in our state and disadvantaged individuals more than anyone else. So our climate change goals, our reductions that are coming over the coming years, and this program as part of that program to reduce carbon and pollution in the state of California inures to the benefit of disadvantaged communities more than anyone else. I ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. With that, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 44, noes 18. Measure passes. Members, back in file order. File items 102 through 109 passed and retained. We are moving to file item 110. That's AB 2688 by Mr. Gordon. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2688 by Assemblymember Gordon, an act relating to privacy.
Mr. Gordon, you may open.
Thank you. Members, the confidentiality of one's health information is a fundamental belief in our society. Information that comes from a healthcare provider is protected by federal legislation such as HIPAA and state law such as California's Confidentiality of Medical Information Act, or CIMA. However, health information that does not come from a healthcare provider is not protected in any way, and that presents a risk for our constituents. Commercial health monitoring programs, as defined in this bill, would include wearable devices as well as applications that utilize user-inputted data to help consumers manage their own health when not under the direction of a healthcare provider. Such devices and applications are growing in use and acceptance. They are an important tool for empowering individuals to manage their health and wellness. But it's also important to safeguard information when it is in a personally identifiable form. AB 2688 would ensure consumers' privacy by enacting common sense restrictions on the sharing of personally identifiable information. Under AB 2688, operators would not be able to share a consumer's personally identifiable information with outside third parties without the consumer's very intentional and voluntary opt-in authorization. Such an authorization must include why such a disclosure would be necessary and to whom it would be made. AB 2688 garnered opposition when first introduced. Since then, we have brought together a multi-stakeholder group to strengthen the bill, adding a number of consumer protections meant to solidify the user authorization component of the policy, and some changes to clarify elements related to entities already compliant with medical confidentiality law. Subsequently, this bill passed out of the Privacy and Consumer Protection Committee on an 8-0 vote. Since passing out of committee, we have continued to work with stakeholders to address remaining concerns with the bill as written. These concerns are complex, but they are addressable. I have to admit that I am disappointed in the floor alert that was issued this morning by the Chamber of Commerce and TechNet. It is certainly not reflective of the work that we've been doing. I represent the Silicon Valley, and I am not going to push regulations that harm our innovation economy. I also have a strong commitment to the confidentiality of personal medical information. And I would not have introduced this bill if I did not believe that there is a way to protect both innovation and consumers. Members, passing this bill out of the Assembly today will ensure that discussions can continue on this bill between all interested parties. I am committed to finding a solution, and today I seek your support to allow me to continue this work. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Mr. Lowe, Mr. Lowe, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise in support as a co-chair of our bipartisan Legislative Technology and Innovation Caucus. We are 32 members strong, and I rise in support of this bill. I similarly also heard this in Privacy Committee, and with the commitment of the author, I know that he has always had an open door to continuing to work with continued stakeholders, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Mr. Chow, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And members, I rise also in support of AB 2688. This bill is attempting to address an emerging problem in the privacy field, which is the treatment of personal health information collected by consumer electronics, the kind of activity trackers that some of us wear on our wrists. Existing law hasn't kept pace with technology and doesn't clearly address how this data should be protected. When this bill was heard in the Assembly Privacy and Consumer Protection Committee on May 3rd, I supported it for two reasons. First, I thought it was a first step towards putting reasonable consumer protection measures on how companies can share personal information with third parties, particularly what companies that operate commercial health monitoring programs for their own employees can or cannot do with that information. And second, I witnessed that the author worked extremely hard to engage all stakeholders in the committee to understand their concerns. He took amendments whenever possible to address these concerns. Members, this is a very tricky area to legislate in because the technology is so new and the issues are still emerging. And I do recognize that the bill will require further refinement in the Senate, but I do encourage all of your support on this measure today because the author is doing everything that he can to move the bill forward in the positive direction. So with that, I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Chow. Seeing no additional discussion or debate, Mr. Gordon, you may close if you wish.
Thank you. I would not have introduced this bill if I didn't believe that there was a way to protect both innovation and consumers. I'm committed to continuing to work on this, and I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. With that, the clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote or desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 48, noes 10. Measure passes. Members, we're moving back in the file to file item 101. That's AB 1799 by Mr. Mays. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1799 by Assemblymember Mays, enacting into common interest developments.
Mr. Mays, you may open.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 1799 is aimed at saving homeowner associations money by reducing unnecessary expense which ultimately benefits property owners. Today's law requires an HOA board election be held even if the election is uncontested, for instance, when there are two candidates for 3 seats. Elections can cost thousands of dollars, burdening their budgets. AB 1799 allows HOA boards to avoid this needless cost by authorizing them to cancel elections that will be uncontested. We added numerous amendments to address stakeholder concerns. For instance, the bill provides a formal process with an open meeting requirement, requires that notice be provided to members, includes a process for associations that allow write-in candidacies, and strengthens the election rule requirements and allows homeowners to sue if the rules weren't followed. AB 1799 is an appropriate balance between cost reduction and homeowner protections. I'll respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. See no discussion or debate on this item. Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the vote. Ayes 63, noes 4. Measure passes. File item 110, pass and retain. We're moving to file item 112. That's AB 1685 by Mr. Gomez. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1685 by Assemblymember Gomez, an act relating to vehicular air pollution.
Mr. Gomez, you may open.
Mr. Speaker and members, Assembly Bill 1685 is a long overdue and common sense measure that updates California's civil penalties for mobile source violations, such as those committed by Volkswagen. As you remember, Volkswagen, which is one of the largest automakers in the entire globe, was caught and admitted to selling vehicles equipped with defeat devices to cheat our emission standards. VW's egregious actions violated the public's trust and contributed to California's worse-than-the-nation air pollution. Penalties are only as effective when they are set to the levels that ensure compliance with the law, deter future violations, and protect competitors that do abide by the rules. California's maximum penalty levels for violations of emission standards have not changed since they first came into existence in the mid-1970s, when cars and other equipment cost only a fraction of what they do now, an average of $3,000 per vehicle. By contrast, federal penalties for similar violations in other states are significantly higher and are adjusted for inflation. AB 1685 remedies this discrepancy by increasing the maximum penalty to the amount under federal law, and this will strengthen California's ability to deter and hold bad actors accountable. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Mr. Gallagher, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, members, I must rise in opposition to this bill. I think everybody can agree what Volkswagen did was egregious and wrong, but to change policy across the board in response to one issue, and in a way, I mean, these penalties, you're increasing them by 1,000-fold percent. And it even covers unintentional acts by private individuals. So we could potentially be putting someone at risk of great expense and penalty liability for something that was completely unintentional. Maybe they bought a late model car from out of state that didn't meet compliance. This is way too overbroad. It needs some more thought, and I would encourage you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Seeing no additional discussion or debate on the item, Mr. Gomez, you may close.
I want to thank the member for his concern. We have no opposition, formal opposition, besides a couple of members here and there, to the bill. But it's actually a common sense measure. I will take a closer look at some of your concerns, and if necessary, I will narrow that part of the bill down a little bit. But I ask for your aye vote, and I thank everybody for their consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. With that, clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Ayes 47, noes 26. Measure passes. File items 113 through 119 pass and retain. We're moving to file item 120. That's AB 2414 by Mr. Garcia. Clerk will read.